Patricia's message was blunt. We've decided to cancel Olivia's Sweet 16. She got a B+ in geometry. It's time she learned humility. Upstairs, Olivia's latest Instagram post showed a glittering countdown, 3 weeks until the best night ever.
Linda stared at her phone, her chest tightening. How could they? Over a B+? Michael, read this. Your mother just canceled our daughter's party.
She said, "It's for Olivia's own good. You know she needs to learn consequences."
Olivia stood frozen outside the kitchen, her fingers trembling around her phone. She fled to her room, muffling sobs into her pillow as the countdown on her screen turned from celebration to cruelty.
"I won't undermine my parents, Linda. This is how they raised me. Stop making this a war."
He actually agreed with them. The man who promised to protect our family chose his parents' approval over his daughter's heart.
Across town, Patricia Reeves set down her teacup with a satisfied smile, her work done. Linda dialed Harold's number, her thumb hesitating over the green call button before she pressed it against her ear.
Harold, I need to know why you think humiliating Olivia over a B+ is acceptable.
Linda, this is about teaching her respect. Life won't coddle her. A lesson now saves her from entitlement later.
His words landed like a door slamming, the same polished condescension he'd used for years whenever Linda's mother came up in conversation. She could still hear Patricia's voice at that dinner party years ago. "Your mother certainly knows her place, doesn't she? A diner waitress in that little uniform. How quaint." And Harold adding, with a dismissive wave, what could she possibly contribute to any conversation worth having? Desperate and alone, Linda ended the call and pressed her mother's number, praying for even a sliver of comfort.
Linda? What's happened? You sound terrible.
Mom, the in-laws canceled Olivia's Sweet 16 for a B+ in geometry. Michael agrees with them. I don't know what to do.
Would you let her grandma try something?
A week passed. Olivia stopped talking about her birthday entirely. The Instagram countdown disappeared from her profile. She moved through the house like a ghost, headphones on, eyes fixed on the floor whenever her parents entered the room. The Reeves in-laws arrived on Saturday afternoon, Patricia clutching a small wrapped package like a sacrament.
We brought you a little something, Olivia. A book we think you'll find. Instructive given recent events.
Humility is a virtue that must be cultivated early. Your generation forgets that.
She got a B+. Not a felony. When did this family decide cruelty was a teaching tool?
"Linda, they're trying to help. Stop being dramatic and just say thank you."
The visit ended 20 minutes later, leaving behind a dusting of condescension and a book Olivia left unopened on the coffee table.
Mom said she'd try something. Right now, that thin thread is the only thing keeping me from falling apart.
She had no idea what a retired diner waitress could possibly do, but she clung to the hope like a life raft in a storm. Mary lifted the bed skirt and dragged out a trunk she hadn't opened in 30 years. Inside lay brittle playbills, studio photos, and vinyl records with her name in small print. Her fingers found an address book with a cracked spine. One entry made her pause. Eleanor Vance. She carried the book to her kitchen phone and dialed from memory.
Eleanor? It's Mary Dawson. I know it's been decades, but I need a favor.
Eleanor's laugh crackled through the receiver, followed by a promise. The theater at Madison Square Garden would be theirs.
Olivia's in-laws canceled her Sweet 16. I want to book the theater at Madison Square Garden. Can you help?
That afternoon, Linda tried to coax Olivia out. "Let's grab coffee, sweetheart." Olivia just shrugged.
What's the point? They won. I don't even want to party anymore.
Back home, Mary hung up the phone and smiled. The first real smile in a week, knowing the gears were already turning. A week later, Mary arrived at Linda's house with a small silver-wrapped box. She found Olivia in the living room and pressed the gift into her hands. When Olivia opened it, a delicate melody drifted out. The music box played a gentle show tune, and Olivia's lips quivered into a tiny smile. Mary watched from the doorway, her eyes glistening as her granddaughter's expression softened.
Grandma, it's beautiful.
Mary pulled Linda into the kitchen, her voice a low murmur. It's coming together. I can't say more yet.
Coming together? Mom, you're scaring me. What exactly are you doing?
Just trust me, sweetheart. For once, let someone else fight for this family.
Later, as Mary washed dishes, Linda passed the counter and saw an open notebook. Names leaped out: Eleanor Vance, Gloria Masterson, and the letters MSG.
At Madison Square Garden? That's impossible. My mother is a retired diner waitress. What kind of life has she been hiding?
That evening, Michael's phone buzzed. Patricia's honeyed voice declared they'd join them for dinner within the hour. At the kitchen counter, Linda's knife halted. She didn't need to ask why they were coming. Within the hour, Harold and Patricia settled into the dining chairs like judges presiding over a trial.
We wanted to see how Olivia is absorbing her life lesson. Has the humility book been useful? She got a B+. Not a criminal record. When will you stop treating her like a disappointment? I hope you aren't planning some silly alternative party. It would send the wrong message entirely.
Before Linda could respond, Michael's hand closed around her wrist under the table, a silent warning.
Enough. Show some respect to my parents. This isn't the time.
The dinner ended in strained silence. The moment the front door clicked shut, Linda rounded on Michael.
How dare you silence me again? They're destroying our daughter, and you just sit there, nodding.
Linda snatched her keys and walked out, the echo of Michael's silence roaring in her ears. She drove straight to Mary's apartment and let herself in. The notebook lay open on the kitchen table. Her eyes locked onto a single line: MSG Theater, 7 p.m., 200 guests, duet with Eleanor.
200 guests. A duet at Madison Square Garden. This wasn't a grandmother's whim. It was a production.
With trembling fingers, she called her mother.
Mom, I'm at your apartment. I saw your notebook. MSG Theater? 200 people? Who are you really?
Wait for me. I'm 10 minutes away. It's time you knew the truth. All of it.
What could she possibly say to explain this? My mother, the diner waitress, who booked the theater at Madison Square Garden?
Mary walked in, sat down across from Linda, and folded her hands on the table.
You thought you knew me, but before you were born, I had a completely different life. Let me show you.
Mary reached into the trunk and withdrew a photograph, its edges worn soft by time. In the image, a 22-year-old Mary stood at a studio microphone, her head tilted in song, Eleanor Vance at her shoulder.
I was a session vocalist. I sang backup for anyone who needed a full sound. Eleanor, Gloria, names you'd recognize. This was my world before your father, before the diner.
She handed Linda a vinyl record, her name Mary Dawson, printed among the credits in small, quiet letters.
All those years. The in-laws called her a diner waitress like it was a disease, and she never corrected them. Why did you let them? Every Thanksgiving, every sneer, every joke about the diner, you could have shut them up with one sentence.
Because their opinion never mattered, sweetheart. I had already lived a life most people only dream of. A waitress apron didn't erase that.
Mary gestured to the notebook. The theater at MSG is booked. Eleanor will sing with Olivia. 200 seats, a string trio, all for my granddaughter. Linda's anger melted into tears. She reached across the table and pulled her mother into a fierce embrace.
Now, help me keep this secret. It's not time yet.
Linda drove home with a secret burning in her chest. Her mother was a legend, and no one knew. Over the following days, she and Mary spoke in hushed tones, finalizing guest lists and stage details page by page.
Why are you suddenly so energized? And why do you keep disappearing with your phone?
Just work stuff, Michael. Nothing you need to worry about.
Olivia noticed too. Her mother's newfound spark was contagious, and the gray fog around her began to lift. A thick envelope arrived from the theater. Linda slipped it into her purse before Michael could see the Madison Square Garden logo. At the country club, Harold mentioned to Patricia, "The girl seems far too cheerful for someone who's supposed to be learning humility."
I called the house. Linda's phone is constantly busy, and she's evasive. I don't like it. They're sniffing around. If they find out before the night, They'll sabotage everything.
3 more weeks, sweetheart. Hold the line. We're almost there.
That evening, Linda sat Michael down at the kitchen table, her heart pounding with the truth she could no longer keep buried.
Michael, I need to tell you something. My mother, she's not just a diner waitress. She had a whole other life before us.
What are you talking about? What other life?
She told him everything: the session vocalist days, Eleanor Vance, the trunk of playbills, the booking at the theater at Madison Square Garden for Olivia's party.
Madison Square Garden? That's insane. You actually believe her? The woman who served coffee for 30 years suddenly knows Broadway stars?
I've seen the contracts, Michael. 200 guests, a string trio, a duet with Eleanor Vance herself. This is real.
It's a fantasy, Linda. My parents were right. You're grasping at straws instead of teaching our daughter respect. Call Mary right now and cancel this circus, or I swear I won't set foot in that theater.
Then, don't come. I choose Olivia. I choose my mother. I won't let your parents' cruelty win.
Michael's jaw clenched. Without another word, he walked out, and within the hour, a suitcase waited by the door. In the wake of Michael's exit, Linda climbed the stairs and found Olivia curled on her bed, red-eyed.
Dad had to go away for work, sweetheart. None of this is your fault.
By morning, the landline shrieked. Patricia's voice, icy and precise, filled the kitchen.
Your mother is a fraud, Linda. We'll have that little fantasy of hers shut down before it ever sees a curtain.
If you care about this family, you'll end this circus today, or there will be consequences.
Linda's knuckles whitened around the receiver. Without a word, she hung up.
I'm here now, and nothing they threaten can shake me. They can't touch what we've built, and they won't take this night from my granddaughter.
Together, they spread out the seating chart, confirming florist orders and stage cues with quiet, unshakable resolve.
What's all this? Are you two plotting something amazing? Because I could really use some good news.
Linda hugged her daughter, hiding the joy and terror in her eyes. The plans were set. Nothing would stop them now. 2 weeks later, on Olivia's 16th birthday, Linda drove her to the salon, keeping the secret locked behind her smile.
You look beautiful, sweetheart. Today is going to be unforgettable.
At the theater at Madison Square Garden, Mary stood with Eleanor on the empty stage, checking the sound levels one final time.
This theater hasn't felt this kind of magic in years. Your granddaughter will never forget tonight.
Across town, Harold Reeves answered his phone. A country club acquaintance had received an invitation and was calling to check if it was genuine.
An invitation to a private event at the garden? Patricia, something's going on.
Patricia snatched the phone and dialed the MSG box office, demanding to speak to a manager about a fraudulent booking. The clerk's firm voice cut through the speaker. That event is private. We cannot release details or cancel it. Patricia's face twisted with cold fury as she dropped the receiver.
Harold, get the car. We're going to the garden. No one humiliates this family.
As dusk fell, Linda and Mary led a blindfolded Olivia out of the car and toward the glowing marquee.
Where are we? Can I look yet?
Linda untied the silk scarf. Olivia's eyes flew open to the marquee reading, "Happy 16th, Olivia, a night of Broadway magic."
The theater at Madison Square Garden? For me?
Inside the lobby, a grand chandelier cast golden light over red carpet and crystal. Olivia spun in disbelief. Beyond the doors, the stage shimmered in cabaret glow, a string trio tuned softly, waiting for their guest of honor. Her friends streamed through the entrance, surrounding Olivia with laughter and hugs. The party ignited. Music swelled, and the first guests took their seats, unaware of the storm approaching. Outside, a black sedan screeched to the curb. Harold stepped out, followed by Patricia, her expression glacial. They marched toward the entrance, only to find a security guard raising his clipboard, blocking their path.
We are the grandparents of the birthday girl. You will let us through.
Mary stepped into the doorway, her posture calm, her voice soft steel.
You canceled her party, Patricia. You're not on the list.
How dare you? You diner waitress.
I was a waitress. Yes. And I'm the woman who booked this theater for my granddaughter. Good night.
She nodded to the security guard. Harold's protests died in his throat as a firm hand took each of their elbows. They were guided out onto the sidewalk, the marquee shining their granddaughter's name above them. Inside, Linda stood near the lobby curtain, hand pressed to her mouth, tears of release streaming.
She did it. My mother just closed the door on 20 years of humiliation.
The chandelier light seemed to brighten as the theater doors closed and the music inside swelled. The stage bathed in cabaret glow as Mary Dawson stepped to the microphone, her voice steady.
Tonight is a reunion of old friends and a celebration of new light. Please welcome the incomparable Eleanor Vance.
Eleanor's voice soared, the trio swelling behind her, and the audience erupted into applause. Linda sat in the front row, her hand clasped over her chest, tears of pride tracing her cheeks. Across town, Michael Reeves stared at his phone, a friend's photo of Olivia on the garden stage burning into his screen. He sped through the city, arriving just as the theater doors swung shut on his mother's furious silhouette. Harold and Patricia stood on the pavement, their indignity naked under the glowing marquee, but Michael walked past them without a glance. He pushed inside and stood at the back, the music hitting him like a wave he hadn't expected to feel again. Olivia's face, lit by the stage glow, was the happiest he had ever seen her. He stayed in the shadows, unworthy to step into the light he'd tried to extinguish. Not yet. The house lights dimmed. A single spotlight found Olivia, frozen center stage.
You were born for this, sweet girl. Take the first note, and the rest will follow.
Olivia opened her mouth, and her voice intertwined with Eleanor's in a harmony that silenced every breath in the room. The string trio swelled. The audience seemed to lean forward as one. Mary stood in the wings, one hand pressed to her heart, tears streaming without shame. In the front row, Linda held up her phone, capturing the image of her daughter becoming a star. The last note rang, and the theater erupted. 200 people rose to their feet, clapping, shouting, weeping. Backstage, Linda found Michael waiting, his eyes red-rimmed, reaching for her hand.
Not now. I can't do this now. Tonight is hers.
Past them, Olivia was laughing with Eleanor, bathed in the glow of a night no one could take from her. Backstage, the noise faded to a hush. Mary sat on a stool, a playbill from the night open on her lap. She uncapped a pen and wrote across the cover in deliberate, loving strokes. To my shining star. Love, Grandma Mary. Olivia knelt beside her grandmother and read the words, her lips trembling.
Grandma, I never knew you were this. Amazing. I love you so much.
Linda stood in the doorway, one hand pressed to her lips, the other filming this quiet miracle on her phone. Outside, the first guests spilled onto the sidewalk, their voices carrying under the marquee. Did you hear that duet? That girl has a gift. And the grandmother, did you know she used to sing backup? In their sedan, Harold and Patricia Reeves watched the crowd through a fogged window, their silence heavier than any words. The theater behind them was still full of light and music, a world they had expelled themselves from. The theater emptied, and the crew began clearing chairs. On the dimming stage, Mary and Eleanor stood alone.
You still have the magic, Mary. 40 years, and it's still in your hands.
Tonight wasn't about me. It was about her.
In the lobby, Linda sat with Olivia on a velvet bench, the buzz of the party still humming in their ears. Michael stepped out of the shadows, his tie loosened, his face raw.
I was so wrong. About everything. My parents, the party, your mother. I'm sorry.
Dad, you came.
She threw her arms around him, a tentative hug that Michael returned with a shuddering breath.
This doesn't fix everything, Michael. But it's a start.
For the first time in weeks, the three of them stood together, the weight of the evening settling into something fragile but real. That night, Olivia hung the framed playbill above her dresser, the message from her grandmother catching the light. She scrolled through party photos with her friends, the evening already legendary in their group chat. In the kitchen, Linda set her purse on the counter. Michael stood by the table, hands clasped, uncertain.
I know I don't deserve to just walk back in. But if you'll let me, I want to try.
That night proved one thing. I can't carry our family alone. If you're here for the hard parts too.
I'm here. For all of it.
She looked at him for a long moment, then nodded once. He stayed, not as a guest, but as someone willing to rebuild.
It won't be fixed overnight. But for Olivia, for us, it's a start.
In her room, Olivia scrolled past a photo of her grandmother signing the playbill and smiled. A week after the party, a cream envelope with the Madison Square Garden logo arrived at Mary's apartment. We thank you for the magical evening. Please accept a permanent booking discount for any future events.
A discount for the garden. I suppose it's never too late to be appreciated.
She tucked it away and drove to the diner where she'd spent 2 decades pouring coffee. Inside, a regular at the counter turned on his stool. Mary Dawson, heard your granddaughter had a birthday to remember.
Just a little family gathering. I helped my granddaughter have a nice birthday, that's all.
She didn't mention the theater at Madison Square Garden, the string trio, or the Broadway Star. That evening, she sat in her armchair and opened the trunk one more time, lifting out a photo of her young self in the studio.
I never needed a stage to know who I was, but giving one to Olivia was the best performance of my life.
She placed the photo next to the playbill on her mantel, the 2 eras finally side by side. A month later, Olivia walked onto the school stage, the same melody from her cabaret rising, but now no fear lived in her eyes. In the 3rd row, Linda and Mary clasped hands. Mary's eyes glistened with quiet pride. A few rows behind, Michael sat forward, clapping louder than anyone. The final note hung, and the auditorium erupted, not the garden, but just as triumphant. Backstage, Olivia threw her arms around Mary, joy spilling out in a breathless whisper.
I want to do this forever, Grandma. I want to be on a real stage.
Mary cupped her granddaughter's face, thumbs brushing away tears.
Then you will, my shining star. You have everything you need right here.
Linda watched from the doorway, her phone forgotten, heart fuller than in years. And in that small backstage room, the legacy that began in a 70s studio and bloomed at the garden found its next voice. The Madison Square Garden marquee still shone, "Thank you, Grandma Mary," as a janitor swept the empty stage. In her quiet apartment, Mary Dawson sat in her armchair, the framed playbill and old studio photo sharing the mantel. She hummed the cabaret tune, the melody a soft thread linking past and present.
That little concert invitation from Olivia felt heavier than any platinum record.
She opened a drawer beside her chair and slid the invitation inside, atop a stack of worn sheet music. Her fingers brushed the corner of an old vinyl, her name still printed there in quiet letters. The afternoon light fell golden across her face, the same light that once washed over a studio in the 1970s.
I never needed a stage to know who I was, but giving one to Olivia was the best encore.
She smiled, a quiet, full smile that held no need for an audience. And the picture faded, leaving only warmth.